Hi everybody, my name is Eric Pottie. I'm the Manager of Programming and Customer Engagement with the Erie Public Library, and I'm going to be showing you today how to do some Star Wars line art for Star Wars Reads Day. So final product's going to look something like this. This is the one that I made. Yours will look like whatever you design. You can do a thing like this. It's really up to you. This is a great opportunity to kind of be creative and just come up with whatever you like. This activity will take about an hour all told, but it's very simple to do once you get going. It may seem a little bit daunting, but it works out pretty well. So I'll be talking about the next step here just now. Alright, so the first thing you want to do for these line arts is pick an image. It can really be anything you'd like it to be. We're obviously doing Star Wars because it's Star Wars Reads Day, but you can pick anything. It can be a photo, it can be something you design yourself if you want to draw it all out. You just pick whatever kind of speaks to you. The important thing to note when picking an image is the front of your canvas. Obviously you can do anything on with painting, but there is the wood in the back. So we're going to be poking holes, so you want to try to avoid going too close to the edges with your image. If you do, it's not the end of the world, but you kind of gotta like hook around and through the wood, so it could be a real pain. So try to work within the boundaries. A thing you can do is always take your image and put it on the back side like this to see if it fits within the boundaries. Your canvases are all smaller than this. If you got the One Smart kits, the idea and everything will still work the exact same, and same thing. You just want to avoid putting it right here on the wood when picking your image. You can do, like I said, just a Google search for something. I like ones, as you can tell behind me, that look like they're one single line. You don't have to do that. You can do it where they meet up, where they match. It's really up to you. I've decided, again, because I like that, to go with this Princess Leia one. That's all one line, and we'll take it from there. When you do settle on something, you just need to print it out, or like I said, you can draw it on. It's really up to you, but once you've decided on what picture you'd like to do, the next step is to get your canvas prepared and ready. And I'll show you how to do that just now. Okay, so once you've landed on your image, it's time to do a background. This can really be anything you'd like it to be. You can leave your canvas just a plain white. Again, as you can see behind me, I decided to do for these ones just one little strip of tape and a little bit of half color. It's really up to you. You can use markers, you can use paints, you can really use whatever you'd like. It is just a blank canvas. You can use different material if you wanted to glue, say, comic books on or anything like that. Like, it's your canvas, so you can do whatever you want with it. You want to make sure it's all going to be flat and smooth, so that way it's easier to puncture the holes later. You can do as much as you'd like. You can do the whole thing. Again, it's really up to you however you'd like to do it. I decided for mine, so we're going to do Leia. To make this one, so it's the Rebel Alliance on what I would think would be Alderaan. Hard to really know because it blew up, but you know, you get your background the way you want it and you're ready to go. It is important to do this step next. You'll see why when we get to the next step, but you really want to make sure you get your background done right after you pick your image. This gives it time obviously to dry. But if you move on to the next step and you do the holes first, they kind of get filled with paint. So make sure you get your background done the way you like it, because it's a bit harder to change once we get to the next step. Okay, so now you got your background all ready. It's prepped, good to go, and you've got your image. So we'll double check to make sure it's the right size by flipping it over and setting it down. And yeah, this won't be a problem at all. Perfect. So now we're going to flip it back, get it lined up the way you like. So it's good to go. We need to take some tape. And it doesn't need a lot of tape, but you just need to affix it. You don't want it moving around, because if it moves around, then your line art and everything is going to be super weird. So you just need to tape it down. Doesn't need a lot of tape. Doesn't need to be pressed too firmly. You really just need to hold it in place. You also don't want to press too firm, because if you've painted the whole thing and it's not 100% dried and cured and you put the tape down too hard, then you're going to peel some of your paint off when you take this off, and you certainly don't want to do that. So now that it's ready to go, you just need to start puncturing holes. So you can take a needle and you just need to pop holes all along following. So you just push down and in, and you move along, and you just follow the lines. Why is this no longer recording? Geez, so you just follow along. What you want to do is every time the line changes direction, you want to go with that. So if you have a lot of straight lines, you're going to be good. If you got a lot of curves, you're puncturing a lot of holes. But it's every time the line changes directions, you just want to pop. Another thing too is you may be very tempted to push it down by taking the needle and putting your thumb and pressing. That will work, but after a while it's going to really hurt your thumb. So what I like to do is just take it between your index finger and your thumb, and you go like this, get a little bit extra weight with your middle finger, and you just go and you work in one full motion, and you push down. You don't need to push too far or too hard. You just need to puncture through the paper and through the canvas. And you just follow along for a while. And then when you're got all that done, I'll show you what to do next. Okay, so now it's fully punctured. We got all the holes. You can see it goes all the way around. In some spots, it's going to be thicker thread and all that kind of stuff. But you can see it's all the way through, so we can peel it off. Now you can see, well, I got a bit of paper there. I'll have to clean that up. But you can see all the little holes. It can be kind of hard to see your complete image through the paint. But if you flip it over, you get a better idea. Okay, well, there's everything, and you can see all the holes and all that. So once you got it all ready to go and full of holes, and you've got it the way you think you like, I'll show you what to do next. All right, so the background's ready. It's all set. You got the holes, everything ready to go. So now you need to start doing the stitching. So I've just got a needle and some embroidery floss here. I've already threaded it rather than attempt to do it on the camera and embarrass myself. You can use embroidery floss. If you have just some regular old thread, you can use that. If you have yarn, you can use that. It really doesn't matter. The only thing that's going to come into play is the thicker the string that you use, the harder it may be to pull through the holes. You may need to make your holes a little bit bigger. It also kind of play into like the thickness will play kind of into like a shadowing effect, or how thick you want your lines to be. So you can make that artistic if you want. You know, you can play with different amounts. If, say, you're using yarn and you're struggling to get to the holes, you can always try to unspool and take the thread and de-thread and pull it apart. And that'll make it a bit easier. It'll also save you some thread. So after you have your needle, once you got it set up and ready to go, you just need to take the back end and tie a knot in it. I always just loop it around my finger like so, if I can, and just pull it tight. So there's a little knot. Doesn't take a lot, but you just need a little knot. Now you can pick pretty much anywhere you like to for a start point. I'll just start kind of arbitrarily here. You want to poke your needle through the back side, just like this, and pull through until you feel that knot. You should feel the knot in the back. There it is. You don't want to pull too tight, because if you pull too tight, you may pull the knot all the way through. What I like to do for the first couple is just hold that in place while I stitch. So then you need to move to your first hole. So you go back through and everything is fine. You should keep your image that you used, because it's good to refer to where the holes are. You could always bring your image back up online if you wanted, or wherever you got it, but it's sometimes easy because you can see exactly where the next hole is. So we have to use what's called a back stitch to complete this project. In a normal way, I would just poke through this hole and move on to the next hole like this. And that would kind of be like a classic stitching if we were sewing something together. But we're not, so we want to use a back stitch. So when you poke through, you pull it tight all the way, and then you want to go back through the hole you just came out of, just like this. And you want to pull it all the way through and tight. And there you go. And you just keep doing this over and over and over again, finding your holes. If you ever have a hard time finding where the next hole is supposed to be, you can always just flip the thing over. You may get some knots, that's okay. You just take your needle and you try to pull them out. These things happen. That's a good knot right there. I'll take care of that in a second. But if you ever get lost, you can always flip it over, find where the next hole is. I'll show you what to do when you run out of thread, when I run out of thread. Okay, so you can see that it's starting to take shape. You got like the outline of her hair coming along, but I've run out of thread. So you do want to save yourself a little bit. You don't want to go all the way so it's down to like to a complete nub, because if you do, you run the risk of your thread being pulled out. So what you want to do is give yourself a couple inches, enough that your fingers can kind of maneuver, but you take the needle off, and then what I always do is just wrap it around in a loop, just like when we tie it off on the needle to begin with. And you pull this bottom part out, and then you just hold it down like that and pull it tight. So now you got a little knot just right down there. Again, it doesn't take a lot, just needs something so if it's going to get pulled on, it'll have resistance, and you just snip the extra. You do want to snip the extra little bits because they can kind of get stuck in the holes. You may pull them and move around. It can cause a little bit of a jam or a knot, and you really don't want any of that. So the next step would just be to rethread the needle and to pick up where I left off and to keep going all the way through. When doing your thread, I should have mentioned this earlier, you do want to get it so that it's long enough that you're not changing your thread every 5 minutes, but short enough that when you pull, you're not pulling all the way your entire arm's length, because then you got to pull and hold it back and kind of do almost like a bow motion like this. You don't really want to do that. So you want to almost like one arm's length from like your fingertips to your shoulder is a good one, because then you can have your whole body and your whole arm's motion to pull the thread all the way through. So you just want to go through, finish it all up. Remember, you're always going to be going from the outside to the front when you're sewing to your back stitch. So the needle will come through this side to this side and back through and back through and back through. And then when we're all done, I'll show you what to do to finish it all off. All right, so once you're done, all your threading, you can just cut it off, and that really is it. So you'll have a finished product. It may look something like this, but you'll have your own little thing you can get done. I hope you enjoy doing this line art. As you now know, it's not a terribly difficult thing. It can be kind of time-consuming, but it's a good activity to do while watching a TV show or listening to music or something like that. They do make pretty good gifts, so if you're interested in that, because there's a holiday season right around the corner, this is a pretty cheap and easy way to kind of do a little craft activity for somebody. I hope you've been enjoying Star Wars Reads Day. If you did do this activity, please post a photo on social media. You can send it right to us. You can tag us at Ayers Public Library, or you can post using the hashtag APL Star Wars Reads. You can be entered into a draw to win different prizes. So I hope you're having a great day. Hope you continue to have a great day, and hopefully see you in the library.